At the age of just 17 years old, Verstappen became Formula One's youngest ever competitor and brought record books to their limits. After winning the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and becoming the Netherlands' first world champion at age 24, Verstappen is the leading light of the next generation. The sky's the limit for the Dutchman. So let's take a look at his most impressive races of his career. But before we get into the video, if you are new here, please press the bell button to stay up to date and don't miss out on any videos of Max Verstappen Formula 1. Despite his no-holds-barred attitudes and tireless defending, Verstappen has sometimes come into conflict with his peers and employers. However, his upfront mistakes have matured into wisdom, whilst he has maintained the bravado and vigour that makes him a blockbuster talent. With every victory since that legendary showdown with Lewis Hamilton in the final round of Abu Dhabi, he scored his first Formula 1 driver's title in 2021. So we've listed 10 of Max's best races for you. To start with number 10, a race every Formula 1 fan knows, let's look back at the great victory in Abu Dhabi. When the lights went out on the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi, 19 drivers had left for 58 laps, and Verstappen's start was not the best. From the start line, Lewis Hamilton had a better start and immediately took the lead in the race ahead of Verstappen and Perez. During the whole race, Verstappen had to work hard to close the gap between him and Hamilton. But then, the brilliant defending from Perez led him to keep Hamilton behind for a long time, allowing Verstappen to overtake. In the end, with 5 laps to go, the bizarre 2021 Formula 1 season took another twist. Nicholas Latifi crashed and ended up on the other side of the track. The safety car was immediately called out, and Red Bull quickly responded by bringing Verstappen back in for a new set of softs. However, clearing Latifi's car took some laps. With 1 lap to go, the race resumed and Verstappen was very close to Hamilton. At turn 5, Verstappen put his car on the inside of Hamilton and took over for first place. Verstappen retained the position and drove to victory and was given the title World Champion 2021. What a race that was! Number 9, the 70th Anniversary Grand Prix in 2020. The Mercedes team dominated the first 4 races of the 2020 season, winning them all. As the second half of the doubleheader at Silverstone ended, it looked like they would win again, but Max had other plans. The Pirelli tyres on the Mercedes degraded rapidly on one of those rare hot days in the British summer. In response to his team's request to protect his rubber, Verstappen instead pressured Hamilton and Bottas into early pit stops. On fresher tyres, the Red Bull driver rejoined just behind Bottas and passed him almost immediately, despite his stint lasting almost twice as long as theirs. On so many occasions, Verstappen's success was due to his fast pace and thrilling overtakes, but on that day, at Silverstone, it was his perfect tactics and tyre preservation that enabled him to defeat those with superior machinery. Race number 8, the Dutch Grand Prix of 2021. Among all of Verstappen's wins, the victory at the first home Grand Prix was not thrilling, but it was still impressive. During his time at Zandvoort, he was under immense pressure. But not only did he need a victory to become competitive for the title, but he had thousands of people who wanted him to win, meaning that he had an entire fanbase watching as the race would be followed by 2 Mercedes events. Observing him, however, such pressure did not seem to exist. In that weekend, he never really looked like he would lose the race win, taking pole position and taking the win that Sunday. To become a great Formula 1 driver, you must be able to handle pressure, and the Dutchman demonstrated emphatically that he is capable of doing so here. At number 7, there's the 2017 Chinese Grand Prix. In Shanghai, the Red Bull driver seemed far from a podium when an engine problem from qualifying caused him to start Sunday's race in P16, but that changed after a stunning start. It was one of the best opening laps in the history of the sport, in which we saw him master wet conditions to gain 9 positions. By lap 8, he was up to P3 after continuing his charge. While they couldn't compete with Hamilton or Vettel for the win, he held off teammate Daniel Ricciardo to finish on the podium. Verstappen's drive is one of the best in the opening stages nevertheless, and one of his best laps that day was his first. Number 6 is the 2018 United States Grand Prix. In the year following, Verstappen made an even stronger recovery drive, starting 2 places lower than he did in China, but finishing 1 place higher, and almost taking the victory. Following a series of perfect overtakes, he climbed into the top 5 after just 7 laps, and then matched the pace of the leaders to put himself in contention for the win. With just a few laps remaining, he was in second place, close to Kimi Räikkönen, but he had to defend rather than attack, since Hamilton was right behind him on much fresher tyres. With a masterclass in defensive driving, he managed to hold off the Brit. It was the drive that had it all: the speed, time management, attacking, and defending. Fifth on the list is the 2018 Mexican Grand Prix. Verstappen is rarely better than he was then in Mexico City. Considering how good he is at that circuit, he fully expected to claim his first pole position and was furious when teammate Ricciardo took it away. He turned his anger into one of the most dominant performances of his career. At one point, he was a pit stop ahead of the rest of the field, having taken the lead from the start and quickly pulled away. There's not much else to say, he was simply extraordinary all day. Next on, number 4. Do you remember the 2019 Brazilian Grand Prix? Despite everything that happened in this race, he was able to celebrate his victory. At the start, he took pole position but lost it to Hamilton when Robert Kubica's Williams blocked him on the pit lane, but regained it after passing the Brit at the first corner. During a late safety car, his team pitted him while Hamilton remained out, dropping him once more behind the Mercedes driver. In the end though, he got back to the front again, this time with a beautiful move around turn 1. He faced so many obstacles that day, but he still managed to overcome them all. The race we should also mention, number 3, is the 2016 Brazilian Grand Prix, the spectacular rain dance of Max. With soaking wet conditions, he overtook Nico Rosberg in a sensational way. This led him to P2, but a poor strategy decision from his team dropped him back to P16. Following that, he was in for a wild ride. In just 15 laps, he gained 13 positions, all in extremely treacherous conditions, and was 2 seconds faster at one point than anyone else. Christian Horner called it one of the best drives I've ever seen in Formula 1, while Toto Wolff said that physics are being redefined. Do we need to say more? Then, at number 2, we have the 2019 Austrian Grand Prix. After securing a front row start, Verstappen was confident of winning at the Red Bull Ring, and he got the job done, but it took quite a bit of effort. Following a poor start and dropping down a few positions, he gave himself a mountain to climb. As he sat in P4 with just over 20 laps to go, it looked like he would fail, but the late charge began with flawless passes on Vettel and Bottas. When he caught Charles Leclerc, he was quickly on top, and the two engaged in a titanic race. With only 2 laps remaining, Max pulled off one of the best moves of his career, dummying to the outside before switching to the inside at the last second and slipping through. This was vintage Verstappen, with such a strong pace and thrilling moves. And then there's the last one, the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix. One of the best drives of his was his first race with Red Bull, which turned him into the youngest race winner ever. While luck had been on his side with the Mercedes crashing not long after the start, he still had a lot to do, and he did it all admirably. He looked remarkably confident in what was a brand new car for him as he attacked Raikkonen's car. This achievement would already be impressive if he had been driving this car from the beginning of the season, but it is even more impressive because it was his first race in the car. The 18-year-old was as fast as teammate Ricciardo, defended perfectly against Raikkonen, and handled a lot of pressure. The future star was obvious then, and it was only the beginning. So which race do you think is Max's best race? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe with a post notification so you don't miss out on Max Verstappen Formula 1. Thank you for watching.